Okay, so we're going to look at now the use of the Redondo in retreating, what you call Retirada, retreating style. And there are several ways of moving. One is to get off the line, and one is to move straight back, but in preparation to get off the line. So the footwork, it really matters a lot. This is something that I would argue is so central to being effective in stick fighting, which not a lot, I mean, people do train footwork, but they don't train mobility. I guess I'll put it that way, moving around a space. If you train in a confined space, which this is not, it's a big space. But if you're in a confined space, you have a tendency to stand still and just kind of do little triangles and stuff. That's fine and good, but then you're in a fight, or even if you spar and you find out, man, I gotta move. I'm like running and shuffling and all over the place. You're sort of filling the space of the room. So with this, as he advances, one nice thing about the Redondo from this closed structure, not open but turned more, is that I can lash out with the most possible reach of my weapon, but then the continuation of the strike brings it back in and I'm ready to hit again or to deflect. But I can move really well forward and back because notice the position of my feet. If I were like this, it's not as conducive to sudden forward lunging or backward movement. But this is why fencers stand this way. You can suddenly like lunge, you can move back. But we don't want to be strictly linear. So when he attacks, I can back up moving the rear foot first, but I can also back up moving the lead foot first. I can also back up moving the lead foot without moving the rear foot as a momentary change of stance, is what we call a false lead, especially if I think he's attacking my leg. Let's say he goes to the leg. See, I can move it and then come back in. So this, and then there's this. And that's all pretty much linear, although you can add little angles. But then I can also get off the line completely, which gives me a new line of attack on his arm. You notice I'm really focusing on hitting his forearm and his hand, because that's the target that presents itself at this range. And if you become good at that with timing and speed, then you are much safer going in when you use a shot on his arm as your green light to go in. You say, okay, well, as soon as I catch him really good on the hand or the arm, maybe even dislodging the weapon, that's my cue to go in. Up to that point, it's a largo mano fight. And that's a reasonable approach, because you'll be out there looking for a shot on the hand or the arm, but meanwhile your head is safely out of reach of his stick, all right? And then the other alternative is to break past that and go all the way in to the clinch and maybe disarm him or take him down. But there isn't, in real stick fighting, there isn't a lot of in between where you're going to stay here for a long time, trading at distancia medio and using a lot of a live hand. A live hand comes in handy, but you're not going to stay there for a long time. You get to do a lot of this stuff. It's momentary. All right, so we can make a drill out of it where I advance and he retreats. So you're going to retreat and hit. And then he advances, I retreat. Yeah. The advanced person will just kind of move in. Move in. Boom. I move in. Yeah. And then we can do it where I'm hitting, where he's hitting, but I angle off. Let's say you're doing Redondo. And so I go here, boom. And I go in, he does off. Yeah, he gets off the line. All right. Occasionally you'll throw in an angle one, kind of a Piketty Thiersche one as well. But being versatile with the angles and then inserting an occasional backhand with tick as well. So now he advances and I can go boom, boom. I advance, he does the same thing. Boom, boom, right? So adding that extra backhand with tick costs you nothing really. And you can get a little shot maybe on the bridge of his nose or his temple or the back of his hand, depending on what's in the way of it. And then you recover it again, you're still moving. So it's a lot like being a boxer. A boxer wouldn't stand square. This wouldn't necessarily be this way either, it'd be somewhere in between. So this affords me some lateral motion, but also quick forward and back. The other key point to make is it all happens with knees bent. You can't be upright. This is the opposite of all things good when it comes to mobility and balance. So you gotta bend your knees and boom, he comes in, boom, I can retreat that way, he goes again, I can retreat that way, he comes in, maybe attacking my leg, boom, I can hit. That was Sagita. It might be, he attacks the leg again, I might, boom, that way as well. From here I could just do a backhand shot. If you do a backhand and it is a follow through, then usually you'll have to disengage this foot. Boom, and then reset. All right, so he advances here, he advances again, I'm angling off, he advances, shuffling lead foot first, and he advances, false lead. All right, that's all part of a retreating style. Allows you to hit, but also it's got you moving.